Hello, everybody. This is Kaho Dave coming to you from Waihoa, Hawaii, and it's Sunday, so welcome to Talk Story Time. Okay, the last time we were here, I was describing an event that happened when I met with a psychic medium from the island of Maui by the name of Roy Goya, and he was able to identify two spirits that were with me, studying on both sides of myself. The person here to my right was my grandma, and the person to my left was Heva Heva. My grandma had a bowl, a wooden bowl, and folded in the wooden bowl was a yellow kihei. And she was offering it to me as symbols of our family's spirituality. She wanted me to accept this responsibility on myself. The other person, Heva Heva, the message that Uncle Roy gave to me is that Heva Heva wanted me to step into his shoes. And initially, thinking about who this person was as a Kahuna Noi, I said, I can't do this. And so it took prayer and focusing in on what did Heva Heva mean by stepping into his shoes. And in a series of dreams, actually, more than one dream came across to clarify what he meant by it. And stepping into his shoes meant that I would be using my gifts and skills to help people prepare for the future, especially my vision, this ability to see and pierce the future, to see what's coming up so that people could prepare for the future. And that's what he wanted me to step into his shoes, use my abilities for. And once I understood that's what he meant, no problem. Okay, I was doing that already. Okay, and so I do that by giving people psychic readings. I make forecasts on different things, so I'm already doing that. So, and he looked at me and said, "Yeah, right. We know." So we want you to continue that, but we want you to use your gifts to help people. Okay. And so I agreed to that. And then he said something to me that kind of like threw me off because as my Mormon, I was raised a Mormon. And when I heard the word initiated, it's a different meaning to a Mormon, yeah, being initiated. We're initiated in a temple, yeah. So I equated that to being initiated some way to the Hawaiian. So I struggled with that concept. Did he ever want me to be initiated as a kahuna? Something that my mother made us afraid of. Okay, so these are childhood demons kind of creeping into the situation and making me afraid. So anyway, in one of those dreams I had, Heva Heva told me that pretty soon, in a short time, I would be meeting a person that understood what being initiated was. And when I meet this man, um, I would have to humble myself and follow through with what he wanted me to do. So, interesting enough, through a series of phone calls and meetings and things like that, I ran into a person that finally understood what being initiated was, and that person was a person by the name of Douglas Ahi. Okay, and most of us and his friends call him Kaivi. Okay, and he's a very gifted, talented, spiritually in tune man, and he lives in Waimanalo. And I got an opportunity to spend time with him. Okay, and when I told him about Heva Heva and this idea about becoming initiated, Kaiwi smiled and he said, "I know what he wants." So what is it? Then he explained to me that he was planning to initiate a group of his friends into becoming a kahu. At the time, I wasn't too sure what a kahu was. And so he explained to me that a kahu was not only spiritual person who could be who could be a minister and minister that way. Could be a healer. Uh, the concept of a kahu is a person who accepts a responsibility. We become stewards. Okay, service to others. That's what a kahu is. Okay. So once I heard the description, I said, okay, when you're ready, let me know. And so as we checked the schedule for our availability, um, the best day available for all of us was the March equinox, okay, of 2014. Okay, so that was a date that was given to us for this initiation, and the place of the initiation was at Kahe Point, okay, up on the North Shore. So we met several times more to plan the event, what was going on, and Kaivi decided to give me the assignment of doing the Ava ceremony. And I had seen an Ava ceremony performed multiple times when I was a employee at the Polynesian Culture Center. But the Ava ceremony that I saw was the Samoans. They were the ones that putting on the Ava ceremony more than Hawaiians. I had never seen a Hawaiian Ava ceremony. Didn't know what it was, didn't know what it entailed. And so I accepted the responsibility, but I didn't know what to do. So my solution? Pray and ask my ancestors for guidance. And so when I asked my ancestors to help me with the Ava ceremony, I went to sleep one night, and in the sleep, this relative of mine, this ancient one, comes up to me and says, "Hey, you like make one Apu Ava?" And I look at him and I says, "What do you mean Apu Ava?" "Oh, stuff to drink the Ava from." "Oh yeah, I need to make one." "How do you make that?" He says, "Well, you gotta go find a coconut." And so he showed me, pulled out a coconut in his dream, and he says, normally you crack the coconut and you split them and it comes out, in two halves that way. Say, yeah, you can use a cup, but you like be memorable, you make them this way. You peel the coconut, and instead of cracking them, around like they normally do, you cut them from tip to tip. And what you get is a bowl that looks like this. This is Apu Ava. And this is what he showed me. And this was an example that he showed me in a dream. Now, if I was living on Molokai, I would jump in a car, go down to Coconut Grove, jump in and pick up on coconut, no problem. But I live in the middle of Waiawa. Where do I find one coconut? And so I started thinking, wow, I gotta go to North Shore, maybe go find somebody. And then I sat down and thought, and using my skills that as a remote viewer, I says, where's the best place I can find a coconut? And I closed my eyes, and the first thing I see is Foodland. So Foodland. And Foodland, they get coconut inside there. And then I remember in a produce shop, in a produce area in Waiho Foodland, there used to be some coconuts right there in display, right next to I think it was the potatoes and different vegetables, but it was in a dry area and stuff. So I went down to our local Foodland, and there's all the coconuts we wanted. So Elle and I got some coconuts, and we began looking at them for the right shape. And the advantage of buying them that way is that If you pick up a coconut with a husk on top, you cannot see the shell. You don't know what kind of shape it's in. But since these coconuts are already peeled, you get perfect shape. And the one that I picked for the Ava ceremony was a beautiful, big bowl. In fact, after the ceremony was done, I offered it as a gift back to Kaiwi, and I think he still have it with them. So I I bought the coconuts. We came home, and Elle and I sat outside on a porch and the shell lengthwise right down here. Yeah, and we had our apuavas, and we began sanding it beautiful, polished. Okay, so that's the apuava, and so you notice that there's a hole over here and stuff, and he told me the first drink and stuff pour it out a year as an offering to Mother Earth. Yeah, so Haumea. So that's that. And then for humans to drink it this way, the live ones. Okay, so that's what I was instructed. And so I was able to get the apuava. And I was still stuck on the ceremony. I said, okay, after I get the apuava, and what do I have to do? It says, well, um, it's up to my ancestors told me it's up to the person, the kahu that is leading the ceremony. What does he want you to do? Says, well, he wants me to do a chant, and I have to learn the chant. So, okay, we can help you learn the chant. And um, then I says, how about the place? Is there a specific place at Kahi Point you want me to do the ceremony? And the ancestors took me to Kahi Point in a dream. And in this dream, I was holding ava bowl, a bowl full of ava with my apuava inside, and I was facing the ocean. And I was looking at the ocean. From my vantage point, I could see two boulders, two large boulders right on the shore, and one to my right and one to my left. And there was shells and white coral all along between the boulders. And when I looked back, there was a hill behind me. And behind me were two more boulders. So there are markers for this sacred spot. There are four markers, two on the ocean side and two in a back on a Malka side. And they wanted me to make sure that I had the right place, and I would position myself facing the ocean as I said the chant, holding the lava bowl. And I said, okay, after I finish this chant, what do you want me to do? He said, feed the stone to the left first. That's the oldest. And I says, well, we serve the oldest to the youngest. Ah, yeah, okay, we get that. So the oldest was in front to the left, from my left, and the second oldest was behind to my left, and then to the right, and then the youngest one is actually the boulder to the right. So these were, that's the process I was told to follow. So I mixed the ava, said the chant, and I took the ava to go feed the stone, and I gave him a little bit, and he says, give me some more. So I poured some more, and he said, oh, malo. And then we went back, and I gave the ava to the stones. That was the first thing to do. And of course, before I gave the stone, I gave an offering to Haumea, the earth. Okay? And so when I was finished feeding the stones and making sure that the boundaries were taken care of so that we could perform the ceremony in the right spirit, yeah, and the place. And then I offered to the oldest, from the oldest there to the youngest. and that was my responsibility in the Alva ceremony. Now, during this dream, I was able to catch a few glimpses of what I was wearing. And the thing that I was wearing, the kihei that I was wearing, was a yellow kihei. That's easy to go. All I need to go is Fabric Mart, yeah, measure out what I want and stuff. But the more difficult thing that I saw myself wearing was a lei that looked like Miley, but it wasn't Miley. It didn't have the sweet smell and stuff. And when I really took a good look at it, I realized it was tea leaf made to look like Miley. And this tea leaf lei wrapped around my neck and went all the way down to my feet and just touched the top of my feet, like somebody had made it specifically for me. And so that's the vision I had of myself before I performed my ceremony. And this was the expectation that my ancestors were giving me. It says, we're showing you how to perform the ceremony, who to do it, where to do it, and what you need to wear. We want you to do that. So as soon as I started talking to my wife, she says, well, we need to go Fabric Mart to go pick up yellow cloth so I can make my kihei. She said, okay, we went and we got the kihei all mixed up. And I started calling around, these hands and stuff. I can do a lot of things, but make these, beautiful tea leaf leis. I'm all thumbs. So I was low. I didn't know how to make that. So I was calling lei stands down at the airport, kind of like panicking. And as the days went by and the break in school was coming, I was kind of nervous, making sure that I needed to get that lei. And so the last day of school, since we're nearing our break, and the solstice was the following weekend after our break, on the last day of school is not only a downtime. It's when we teachers get their books together, assemble their grades, and put everything together. And normally, what we do is we take videos and put them on the screen and watch movies all day. And if the kids want to bring in something to eat, that's fine. Go ahead, as long as leave me alone so I can put you guys' grades in and get you guys' grades all caught up, so you don't have to worry about anything over the break. And for the people that need extra help to boost their grades, they can use the break to do extra credit if they want it. So that's what the day was like. No classroom instruction, nothing. And I was in the back of my room on my computer typing away. And all of a sudden, I had this mean feeling like I needed to go to the copy room at our school, at Campbell High School. So I'm sitting over there and I get this urge, like, I need to go. And finally, I told the kids, and I had a co-teacher at the time. I says, can you watch this, the class while I step out? I said, sure. So I went out and I left the room. Nothing in my hands to make copy. All I know, I needed to go to the copy room at that time. So I made a beeline to the copy room and entered in there. And as soon as I entered the copy room, there was a person standing at the copy machine making copies. And he was a kumu over there. He was a Hawaiian language teacher. Okay? And he turned around and he said, hey, Miss Wallace. And we hugged each other, we horned each other. And, he asked me what I was going to be doing over the break. And I told him, I'm going to be made a kahu next week. And he looks at me. He said, really? Yeah. Where? I said, Kaipoi. And, if you're available, come. He said, he's going to be busy and stuff. But you know, thank you for inviting. And so we had small talk. I was in there for less than 5 minutes and stuff, and I felt like, okay, this is why I came to the copy room to talk to the kumu. So I left, and that's the only person I talked to right in the copy room. And so I walked back to my class, and I went and sat down and continued putting in my grades. And about 45 minutes later, I hear a knock on my door. So I walked over and I opened the door, and actually, yeah, I opened the door, and there was a young lady standing outside, and in her hands she had a package, a plastic bag, and she kind of looked at me. Are you Mr. Wallace? I go, yeah, yeah. Here, and she hands me the bag. He says, "This is from Kumu." And I look at him, and I took the bag, and I walked back to my desk, and I opened the bag, and there inside the bag is this beautiful tea leaf lei that looks just like a Miley lei. And right then, right when I see him, and even now and stuff, I began to tear up. And I went, wow, that's why I needed to go to the copy room. And the damn thing about it is I took the tea leaf lei out of the package, and I put it around my neck, and I stood up. And the ends of the tea leaf lei barely touched the top of my feet. I sat there and I cried like a baby. Akua, my family members knew I didn't have the skill to create this beautiful thing. So they sent someone that did have the skill to help me. And it was exactly what I saw in my dream. And, later that day, I'm sitting over there crying, bawling like I am right now. And stuff, just full with emotion, gratitude, and love. And the kids are coming to my around me. Mister, you okay? You okay? You need us to call somebody. And I looked at me. Yeah, I'm more than okay. This is not tears of sadness. This is tear of joy. Oh, how come? I said, well, this is what I got from Kumu. So I showed them what it was, and they go, wow, this is beautiful lei, And so I took the lei, and after school I went back and I had a talk with Kumu. And he told me that since it was the last day of school, he had brought in some tea leaves so that his students could practice making tea leaf leis. And while he was picking, after he finished picking, something told him that he needed to go back to go pick up some more leaf, some more tea leaf, like he needed extra. He didn't understand why he needed the extra leaves until he ran into me at the copy room. And I told him that I was being initiated as a kahu. And he said, picking up the leaves, the extra leaves, was for you. So we hugged, and Honey, in fact, later on and stuff, I gave him a really special lomi stick that I made. Only one of its kind. It has double sticks in the back to reach down your back. And there's 2 points instead of one. That's the only stick I made like that ever. And I gave it to him. It was a unique one. And I gave it to him for helping me. So, um, here I am with this lei, and I bring it home and I explain it to my wife, and I get everything that I need. I got the yellow key, I got the apukava, and I know where we need to hold the ceremony. I know exactly where, and so I'm prepared. On the day of the ceremony was a Saturday morning, and I had a really restless night's sleep. I had a hard time sleeping, kind of like tossing and turning. And early in the morning, about maybe 4:30 and stuff, in a dream, I hear someone knocking on the window, my outside window. And in my dream, I wake up out of bed and I go look, and they're outside my window smiling at me, dressed in his kihei, his heva. And he points to the road. And standing in the road in front of my house is a tall, dignified Hawaiian, dressed in uh, yellow feather cape. Okay? And behind him is a long line of warriors with their ihes just ready. And they're facing south direction, like they're heading south. And so Heva addressed me. He says, "Are you gonna wake up, or are you gonna sleep all day?" And so I look at him and I say, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up. Why?" He says, "Good, because they're waiting for you." And I look at him. I says, "Is this your ali'i?" And he goes, "I." And he served under Kamehameha the Great, yeah. So he said, "No, he's waiting for you. So wake up. Time to go." So I woke up. As soon as I got through with the dream, I woke up and I jumped out of bed and snuck a peek outside my door to see if the warriors are still there, but they were gone by then. And so I woke up and I assembled everything that I had, and uh, we went to Kai Point. Okay, and it's getting long right now, so I'm gonna reserve what happened at Kai Point when for next week. Okay, and so next week I'm going to be explaining more about the ceremony itself and what happened when we got at Kai Point. Okay, and that's really interesting. Okay, so this is Dave Wallace, and mahalo for listening. If you're enjoying the stories that I'm sharing with you, make sure that you subscribe. Also, uh, pass it on to other people so that they can hear my stories and share it with others too. I also wrote a book called The Journey of Our Souls, in which the story is explained in there. Okay, and so take care of each other, and God bless until next time. Okay, aloha.